we're drowning in information. How lies spread faster.
People want to hear the spicy information like
In today's world is that misinformation has a great impact on political areas.
In the 2016 US presidential election, social media became a new battlefield.
statistics that shows that from MIT, false information or misinformation spreads 6 times faster than the normal information. Or like in the 70 to 80 developing or developed countries, all the government has been a target of misinformation.
Right. They're using misinformation, spreading misinformation to justify whatever they're doing, whatever the torture that they're doing for Palestinians.
It's obviously affecting democracy in Israel and the US because they consider themselves to be a democracy in the first place.
Guys, like misinformation and disinformation, why is this spreading? What is the reason? What is the science behind it?
Because of how our mind thinks. As human beings, we like quick answers. And if we find something similar of what we actually believe from the very beginning, we tend to believe that fast.
In today's world, we are drowning in information, but not all of it is true. And democracy is based on the fragile foundation that's true. But in today's world, truth is at stake. Fake news, manipulated viral videos, and deliberate disinformation campaigns shape how we vote. It affects democracy and also suppresses voices. Welcome to our podcast. Today, our discussion is on truth in crisis, misinformation, disinformation, and the future of democracy. I'm here today as your host, Rafit, with my friends Mahi, Astha, Anik, Momita, and Arani. In this episode, we will uncover how lies spread faster than truth, how it undermines democracy, and the urgent need to address this issue of spreading misinformation, controlling it. So we'll start it off with clearing out the terms misinformation and disinformation. So Mahi, can you clarify on this?
Right, so first of all, we need to understand what are misinformation and disinformation. So disinformation are the news or the points or information that's spread unintentionally by a mass group of people or news mediums. And disinformation are the forms of news, information that is spread as a propaganda by a government or different organizations.
Right. So basically, misinformation is unintentional spread of false information, and disinformation is the deliberate, the intentional spread of false information. Right?
Exactly. So why do this spread? So this spread, like people want to know about fake news. They want to hear what the other people they want to defame the other people. Like in the 2016 election, we can say that Donald Trump used different chat bots or AI bots against Hillary Clinton to win the election, and they used Twitter bombing to win the election to go to start a campaign against Hillary Clinton. So it is very evident the companies like Meta and different X, which is Twitter.
Big companies.
Definitely the big companies use.
Companies.
Yeah, they use this as a motto as a medium of their economic freedom, or they use this to earn more. As we can see that there is a statistics that shows that from MIT, where false information or misinformation spreads 6 times faster than the normal information.
So, Mahi, according to you, why does misinformation spreading so swiftly?
As I said earlier, that misinformation spreads faster because it's the spicy news. People want to hear the spicy information, they want the news, they don't want it to be legitimate. If it's legitimate, if it's normal, there is no spice in it.
It's like truth is boring.
Truth is boring and lies are interesting. They find it interesting. So,
And we all have some moments where we don't even clarify if it's true or not, and we just share the news.
exactly. That's a great point of misinformation. People want to inform others, but they don't verify it. We can see in the COVID-19 pandemic, people use methanol to cure their diseases, which is a very vague thought of them. They used it without any doctor's prescription. So if we come back to the issue of Facebook and other companies, we can see that they want users to use their platform. They want economic freedom, and the creators use this to generate likes, views, subscribers, which is very easy for them to earn money. And Facebook monetizes by ads, and like they want clicks, and as many people come into Facebook, as much crowd is there, they can earn more. So basically that's it. Facebook and other big tech companies use this as a medium of the economic freedom. And the last information that I want to point out is in the 80 countries, or like in the 70 to 80 developing or developed countries, all the government has been a target of misinformation. Like they are targeted to spread misinformation against the government or against the ruling body.
So thank you, Mahi, for making us clear about what misinformation and disinformation is. But what we see in today's world is that misinformation has a great impact on political areas, or like now on the national as well as on the international level, right? So do you guys have any take on this?
Yes, I have a bit on this. Before we start talking about disinformation, we should ask a deeper ethical question: what is our responsibility to truth in a democracy? We know that truth is not just a personal value, it is a foundation of collective decision making, and if truth collapses, then democracy also collapses with it. History gives us many examples. In the 2016 US presidential election, social media became a new battlefield. Russian trolls and bot accounts are extremely active, and they're producing about 120,000 tweets per month. Had this fake headlines like they claim that Pope Francis endorsed Donald Trump reach millions of people.
Why do you care that a fake news and shocking news spread faster than the truth?
Yeah, you asked a very good content.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Because lies are designed to shock and anger, and it makes people excited, and it influences them to share the misinformation rather than the truth. That's why truth spread slowly.
As I said earlier, truth is boring, and lies are spite. Lies are spite. So 2 days ago, when I was scrolling social media, like I was scrolling Instagram, and suddenly I stumbled upon a BB headline which said that Nepali citizens are protesting. Yeah, but when I just started reading the comments, I found out that the citizens are saying that the protest is not about the the social media ban, but about the government's corruption. So they were actually protesting against the corruption. So as renowned source as BBC, they're also not properly caring about the titles that they're putting in and on the headline. So guys, how do you think that this Nepali protest actually, like, what can we learn from this, the movement, the connection between the citizens and the government from this incident?
These days, Professor, one thing very clear there: when leaders try to control the truth instead of being honest, lose faith and anger go either.
So talking about from the international point of view, I think we cannot really overlook the conflict that is ongoing between, Israel and Palestine. So how like Israel is trying to use misinformation and disinformation to justify their actions, like the killings, the tortures, repressions. So do you guys think that this affects democracy in any way? Do you guys think that it affects democracy?
In certain ways, yes.
Palestinians are also shown as aggressors and terrorists,
Like the
while
victims themselves are shown as aggressors using
aggressors,
misinformation.
while their true sufferings are hidden. Because families are losing their homes, children are growing up under constant fear, and entire community are cut off from basic needs like food, water, and security.
Said that Israel, they're using misinformation, spreading disinformation to justify whatever they're doing, whatever the killing, whatever the torture that they're doing to the Palestinians, right? So, like, how you guys think this might be?
And it's obviously affecting democracy in Israel and the US because they consider themselves to be a democracy in the first place. Now, how they're affecting democracy, they're shifting public opinions, they're manipulating the people. We will come to that later because that's a bit deeper topic, and we'll address it some point later. Anyway, in the US and in Israel, the people are forced into believing that these Hamas terrorists or the Palestinians, these are termed as terrorists. So whatever they're doing, their existence.
Like they just before doing anything, they just use the word Hamas, members of Hamas, for like shield.
Yeah.
Like they bomb hospitals, they bomb schools, even they kill the paramedics. There were news recently from March where they could actually identify that they were paramedics from the military, but like, they just didn't care. And when there that you could have identified the paramedics beforehand, but you did not. Like they use misinformation.
Yeah, that's the sole basis of carrying out that genocide. If you don't have a reason to do it, how can you make the people believe that whatever you did was justified in the first place?
And the
So
reason that they are actually misspreading.
misinformation in the form of propaganda. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
And in this case, we can ignore our own national boundaries because spreading misinformation are nowadays very common in our country. We felt it very directly during the July Revolution of 2024, where students fought for justice, but they were defamed with fake news. They were labeled as violent mobs, foreign agents, and even threats to national security. Yes, you are right. And just before yesterday, we saw in that election the same tactics again, where defamation campaigns, false news, and online harassment, especially against the female candidates, and that were basically polluting the political space. And if even campus elections are poisoned by lies, then what do you expect for the future of democracy in our country? So lastly, I want to end my speech by saying that democracy doesn't just need election, it also needs the truth, because when misinformation wins, democracy itself is what we stand for.
Wow, guys, have you really noticed the weather? I think it's like red and dark.
so beautiful.
Like Minecraft, right? We're so actually kind of we're lucky to actually have a podcast during this weather, right?
But I think
But,
we're
but,
great.
but actually, I think we cannot actually continue with our podcast if it starts raining heavily as the raining has started. Yeah, I guess we have to do our Oh, so the sun is out again. So are we. Come on, guys.
Very glad you're back.
Let's continue with the next part of our podcast, shall we?
Yes, of course.
As you mentioned, from the spread of misinformation from a local, citing the July Revolution. It was not only within the country, but even our own neighboring country, India, that was spreading misinformation, fake information. So yeah, misinformation, especially. You guys remember about that news reporter from
Yes, Mohit Ranjan from Republic Bangla. He said that Dr. Yunus is the enemy of Bangladesh and Bangladesh is going to be out of money very soon. That's so funny.
I was not aware of it.
What?
I wasn't aware of it. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, so Anik, you wanted to talk about how misinformation and disinformation actually manipulates people's opinion in new politics. Maybe you want to cite your thought less.
Yeah, as I was saying in that particular arena, I was talking about how the U.S. Manipulate people's public opinion. And funnily enough, the US and the UK have done research or have investigated into this matter on how foreign powers are meddling with their elections when they themselves have meddled with the elections of the Arab countries. When you're talking about Libya, we're talking about Iraq. Yeah, I mean, think about what they did with Gaddafi. Think about what they did with Saddam Hussein. They were oppressive leaders, but I mean, they didn't deserve what really happened to them. They turned their people against them. And I don't want to really talk about it.
By their own
people.
Yeah.
because of disinformation.
Yeah, that's what they did. And I don't want to expand on it a bit more because I think it's coming up a lot too much. I want to move on to the Indian aspect of it. But before that, I want to say that this manipulation of public opinions, it's not happening on a local scale, but also on a global scale, where I think it came up in a class discussion where some Macedonian teenagers were involved in rigging the US elections. Now that happened from a personal, but when states are involved with the election, states don't want personal gain. They want, I mean, the process is kind of complex. They want their own benefits in political or economic arena. Yeah, it's kind of a power shift. I mean, you want the kind of leaders that will represent you in that case. That will benefit you. That's what the Russian wants. Yeah.
USA wants
Yeah. So in that respect, the political campaigns itself become a kind of marketing stunt where you try to influence public opinions through your campaigns and through the lies that you spread around. India does that a lot, as I was saying. India does that with Bangladesh, and the Bangladeshi people are very upset with it. We saw how in the July Revolution, or after the July Revolution, they tried to set this narrative that minorities were being harmed. It didn't really happen, or not to that scale.
the news about the law.
Yeah. No, the Indians were not involved in spreading this. Those were Bangladeshis, because the spread of misinformation it happens on both sides. It's not just the Indians doing it. It's also the Bangladeshis who try to portray Indians as being more evil than they already are, for political reasons, obviously. Yeah. Now, on a general perspective, India does that a lot with Bangladesh, spreading misinformation in that case, and they have particular motives for that matter. What are those motives? They want political gain. First of all, they're the kind of superpower in South Asia, and they want to maintain their regional dominance. They want to do that. With Bangladesh, they have some border issues. They have some water politics. You think about the Tista water crisis and water distribution. This problem has not yet been solved because of certain propaganda, certain misinformation, some false news that's been spreading around. And also, they have their own gain in their own elections. The BJP wants to maintain dominance in their own country, so they kind of want to create the narrative based on religion, based on the attacks on minorities in Bangladesh, how Muslims are being portrayed as evils. Yeah, they wanted that after the July Revolution because Awami League was a pet to the government itself, right? Indian government. So they wanted Awami League to stay in power, and that was one of the motives. Yeah, that's one of the motives. And also India does that because there's one other superpower in Asia, that's China. So to counter the Chinese influence, they do it all. Yeah.
Nations, some nations supports using whatever way, maybe disinformation or misinformation.
So I think he also tries to see the narrative that in their own country or hopefully bound so that the government that supports him they can pursue.
Yeah, that's fair point as well. That's one of the reasons.
Guys, like misinformation and disinformation are like so wide. Like, why is that? Why did this spread? Like, what is the reason? What is the science behind it?
I would like to talk about that. You know, in today's generation, how misinformation, disinformation, and false news is spreading so fast. It's not because of the internet, not because of the social media platforms we are using, like Facebook, Twitter, whatever we are using on a daily basis. It's also because of how our mind thinks. As human beings, we like quick answers. And if we find something similar of what we actually believe from the very beginning, we tend to believe that fast, and even we are more likely to believe which is very strong in our eyes, like if it affects us directly, like scientifically. So we are more likely to believe and even share it without even second thoughts in our mind.
I feel like when we see the same information we have already seen before, I think I have read somewhere there's like a scientific term for this. Does anyone know?
Yeah, there are some psychological.
Maybe like confirmation bias or something.
Yes, sir, something like that. There are some psychological terms called the confirmation bias, the information overload, there is heuristic. So these psychological terms also explains a lot how our mind thinks generally.
Exactly. Sometimes people just go with the trend
Without rechecking, they just share it online wherever they want to actually.
Yeah, I think like people's ego also sometimes works. Like when you have spread an information and later you found out that it's false, but even though you know, like from your own biases, like you want to stick to your first impression, like you will still not want to admit that you were wrong in the first place.
People
And
want
I
to
think
believe what they want.
People actually don't believe.
This is a really big problem in the way to solve the problem of spreading misinformation.
There is a lot happening in our world, in our country as well. I would like to talk about some examples. COVID-19 in 2022, we have seen that there was false news about the vaccines and that they're using microchips in it and etc. That was a false news, and that made people lose their trust in the government.
I would like to add, like I also read that some people
in Iran or Iraq, they somehow they learned that methanol could heal the virus,
Yeah, exactly.
heal themselves from COVID-19, and that person, like not only that person, thousands of people actually, no, maybe 700 people just died because of ingesting chemical methanol. They believed that it would cure COVID-19.
So people even
Thousands were
died
admitted,
because
yeah.
of that. That's
Like
how
it can
misinformation,
actually, yes.
disinformation is. Rohingya Muslims are plotting against the people in Bangladesh and even in their country. These news shared over Facebook out of anger and fear. This even group loyalty made it stronger among the people.
So like they were violating the minor human rights, and the minor human rights is actually a very strong element of democracy.
There was some psychology at play. Those things actually.
Yeah, psychology, like, obvious in like outcasting the.
Also, furthermore, beyond the borders in Nepal, you see how waves of online disinformation have eroded the people's trust in institutions and government, and they got confused what they support. So I think that this there should be some solutions.
I think before, like, the easiest solution that the from a personal level, like before we share any shocking or interesting information, just we can just take some time and search it somewhere else, self-checking. I think that is like the very easy and the basic important step to stop spread of disinformation.
Yeah, but furthermore, I think transparency algorithms shape what we can see is as one of the key.
So like as from this teach, I understand and I believe that if Facebook or Meta does a filtering, then this fake information will go only one way down to we can really create it. So like if we really want to bring down this fake information and misinformation down, there is a simple and a very tactical way of handling it. That is penalizing or providing penalties to the companies or news portals that provides fake information.
There must be something wrong with the web, because if you're telling that the government should penalize these corporations or people, how would you, I mean, I have the sense that if my farms please be terminated, because you're essentially making laws and national laws, and we've seen that in the context of Bangladesh through the Digital Security Act, that the purpose of that act was to maintain, was to not let misinformation spread as rapidly as it was doing, but through that act they were penalizing some journalists who were talking against the government, and that
So that is like if you talk about a corrupted government, what if this is applied? I go more or less every government is corrupt.
First solution, and I think also responsibility is being a measure. I think these solutions to be. I will end the topic by saying that disinformation is not just a need in the democracy. It's about the survival of the. Exactly, Arne. Completely agree with it, because misinformation doesn't just confuse people.
So guys, misinformation doesn't just mislead. It reshapes our societies. It polarizes communities, and it undermines the very essence of democracy. But to fight against this, our greatest weapon is knowledge. By questioning what we read, by checking what we share, and critically analyzing the news, we can stop the spread of misinformation and protect democracy. Stay informed and stay curious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.